Okay, so here's another thing in Dark Star Edition. Uh, so this is the sixth Koopatrol fight from Chapter 8. Here's just where started from the save state. First, let me explain what this is. So, as the sidebar explains, I'm not using any items because I didn't have to for this fight. Obviously, no dodge master, auto block, or anything like that. You'll see proof of that actually. There's any more of that. And also, so this fight, yeah, as it's optional, uh, but you can also fight an easier version. You have to fight at least 3 Koopa Trolls, but if you get the quiz wrong in door 2, you can fight 6 instead, and it's much harder, obviously. I chose to fight this because I'm awesome. No, because I like a challenge. Um, anyway, the big thing is I wanted to do this without using timeout, because these Koopatrols are extremely weak to timeout. So, they get stunned for 2 turns, it's 2 free turns, it's basically a complete victory. Anyway, so, more on that later. Here we see, on the first turn, we're going to chill out, then we're going to, I missed some blocks there. We're going to chill out, and we're going to use Hurricane. We're going to be doing 10 Hurricanes, that's how we're going to take care of them. I had some other ideas, but I mean, this is the only real way, since these enemies are actually quite annoying. So there's already so much to talk about that I have to pause the video again. So first of all, these enemies, they're Dark Koopatrols, lots of HP, lots of defense. If you, say I used multi-bounce, etc., if you knock them over, say with Quake or jumping on them with Spike Shield, multi-bounce, hit them all, don't do that. Because they'll get up, they'll charge, so they'll get +3 attack. It's different from their, like, charge attack. They'll just gain +3 attack, and they'll attack all on the same turn. So obviously that is effectively death. So Mario's job in this fight was entirely to survive. Also, as you see, the second, fourth, and sixth one, they charged up, and the first, third, and fifth one they attacked directly. So this is one of the more scripted fights. So basically, they have a script where some of them will charge up, others will attack. Then on turn 2, only the third one would charge up. Then on the third turn, the second and fifth one would charge up, and then it loops again. So 2, 4, 6, 3, 2, 5. So knowing with that knowledge, you can work around it. And this actually resets if you use whatever it's called, Starbeam, which negates this. It undoes the charge attack. Now we have to use Starbeam. We don't survive without Chill Out, and we definitely don't survive without the Starbeam. So when the Chill Out runs out, we have to do a bit of a dance, because it's going to happen here, because we're going to need to use Starbeam and Chill Out on the same turn, and we can't. Because at this point, Hustle Spell doesn't exist. We do not have an upgraded Buzzatris. So, here we actually will survive 1 attack. Each one of those will do 1 damage to me if I block. If I miss the block, they'll keep attacking, so it'll do 2 + 1. So I have to. Here's a turn where I have to block everything. I can't make a single mistake on these 3 blocks. And they're difficult blocks. Like, they're definitely not free. There's not much time to react. You kind of have to preemptively know when they're going to strike. Because, yeah, if I miss that, they'll do 2 damage instead of 1, and then they'll attack again, the same one. And so I'm just dead. Now here, we have to do something. So, so the reason we took that damage was to just do a little of extra damage in order to stretch out our SP, because we will be running out of SP at the end of this. And here we're going to use Out of Sight, so that we get this configuration, and this is survivable with only a Chill Out. Because the ones that attack, that aren't charged, will do no damage. I get fully healed because of Happy Flower and Happy Heart. So here's another turn where I have to block absolutely everything, because this attack there, I've never once successfully blocked that attack. So that attack has to be blocked. And then you have to block it twice for it to stop, so we have to have enough HP to survive the initial hit, which I've never successfully blocked, and then block 2 more rounds. And we just barely can. Now here, we Starbeam. Because, I mean, now we're chilled out. We Starbeam just as usual, and we switch back to Hurricanes, and we do that. But now here's the thing. Because we took the extra turn earlier, we're a little bit offset, so we don't actually get healing this turn. So this is another turn where we have to perfectly block. Otherwise we die. We have to get all 3 blocks. Now, there is something you can do. They are also vulnerable to Dizzy, so we could Dizzy Shell them. It's not nearly as effective as Stop, because for Dizzy Shell, while they're in their shell doing their charge attack, they can't be dizzied. So if Mario would have to Starbeam them and then Dizzy Shell, and that buys you 1 turn, but Mario already wasted his turn, so you don't get extra damage. All that does is effectively, since you only get 1 turn instead of 2. They aren't as vulnerable. Well, they're equally vulnerable, but Dizzy's dumb and whatever. So basically, it just buys you a turn, which is useful for healing, but I found a method that was much harder, actually, that doesn't use that, so I didn't use it anyway, so I could claim, oh yeah, no status moves. Anyway, here we're basically doing the exact same thing. Now, because I was able to get through this at full enough HP, at 4 or 5 HP, I'm able to go through this again. I'm able to attack and survive this if I block everything. So that's what we're going to do here. And here we're actually running out of SP. Now you notice I did focus earlier. I don't think that focus really matters. It gives me 1 refresh at the very end of the fight if I need it. I could refresh out of sight, maybe, if I missed some blocks at the end, but it's unlikely, and I didn't need it here, but Mary just had a free turn. But that refresh we have to do, otherwise we run out of FP, because we have Flower Shield on. It's a surprisingly good badge. Anyway, here's the last real, quote, do or die moment, where it's like, you have to perfectly block everything, otherwise you lose. And because we, so basically there are 3 chances to put a block in where we don't have to, three chances to, get an extra Hurricane in without them being chilled out. And we were able to get the first 2 in. The third one would be at the very end of the battle. But the sooner you get them in, the better, obviously. And at this point, it's basically done. It's just a matter of, 3 Hurricanes and 6 blocks, even. I mean, in theory, I could have sped this up if I had, Quake Hammer on. I could have done this a turn earlier, but I didn't really have a badge really to spare. Because I actually was running out of badges for this fight, actually, believe it or not. You'd think, oh, 20 badges, you can put on whatever you like, but not really. I was really pressed to figure out exactly which combination, because there's so many ones that are effectively mandatory. You'll see the badges I have shortly. But yeah, obviously the fight does not need to be nearly this hard. This is effectively as hard as possible. I also don't have stuff like Head Start, which would have made it a bit easier, and other pit badges. And there you have it. So I'm just going to show the badges real quick. The usual stuff, all the happies in the happy items, quick change, FP pluses, all the FP saving badges, because FP economy was terrible, because you're using it for both offense and defense. All the defensive badges. Star Gift was necessary in order to get 3 chill outs on, as well as Stellar Burst. We just needed the SP economy, and that's basically all we could afford. No offensive badges possible. And the video restarted. Nice.